Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Taft City Council Successor Agency Joint Regular Meeting for Tuesday, August 18th here at Taft City Hall. As a courtesy to all, if you'll check your cell phones and put them on vibrate or mute, we'd appreciate it. I'm doing that to my phone right this moment. Tonight, we'll have a Pledge of Allegiance, and if Mr. Knorr would lead that for us, I'd appreciate it. And our invocation is Heather Mueller with the St. Andrew's Episcopal Church. So, Mr. Knorr.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. If you would all please stand and join me as we salute our nation's flag. Salute and pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Reverend Mueller.
Let us pray. Almighty and eternal God, great force of love, source of justice and peace in this universe and on this earth, we thank you for these magnificent gifts of guidance, love, and inspiration. We come together this night as stewards in this, our city of Taft. We ask and pray that we would be stewards in care of the children in our midst and the teachers who care for them from day to day. As stewards of the environment that we have been given by you, that we would care for the trees and the places, the water, the air. Stewards of the people who are less fortunate and in need of support. The people who are homeless, the people who are trafficked, the people who are hungry in our midst, the children without good leadership of parents in their homes. We ask and pray, dear Lord, that you would guide us in our search, in our endeavors as we seek to be good stewards of these things that you have put into our hands and into our hearts. We ask for guidance and inspiration as city members and as council members this day and always, and we pray in your most holy name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Reverend Mueller. And thank you, Councilman North.
My pleasure. Thank you, sir.
Madam Clerk, will you take roll call, please?
Yes. Mayor Miller,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Knorr,
Here.
Councilmember Cryer,
Here.
Councilmember Bryant,
Here.
and Councilmember Hill. Here.
Okay. We're going to move on to item number 1. It's a proclamation, Pedestrian Safety Awareness Month. And our Councilman Hill will be reading that resolution. Proclamation, I mean.
The City of Taft, the State of California proclamation declaring August 2015 Pedestrian Safety Awareness Month. Whereas children are the most valuable resources in our community, a top priority of parents, teachers, community leaders, and concerned citizens should be to guarantee their safety and well-being. And whereas every pedestrian deserves an effective, equitable, and safe learning environment, getting safely to and from school is necessary if we are to attain that goal. And whereas fatalities and injuries to our students while getting to and from schools can be avoided each year if our community takes steps to make pedestrian safety a priority. And whereas motorists should be keenly aware of children walking to and from school and be especially cautious in and around school zones. They should slow down when approaching a school, abide by the 25-mile-per-hour posted speeds in school zones, and follow directions given by district personnel in student safety zones. And whereas the observance of Pedestrian Safety Awareness Month in August encourages students, parents, educators, and other community members to realize the importance of slowing down in school zones and around school buses. Now therefore be it proclaimed, the City Council of the City of Taft does hereby proclaim the month of August 2015 as a Pedestrian Safety Awareness Month, and encourages district employees, students, their families, and local residents to participate actively and effectively in increasing school zone safety. Dated this 18th day of August 2015, signed by Mayor Randy Miller, Councilman Knorr, Councilman Bryant, Councilman Cryer, and myself, Councilman Hill.
Thank you. We have in our audience tonight Julie Graves, Superintendent of the Taft City School District. And Julie, if you stand up, and maybe we get Doug to take a picture of us, and then we really appreciate you.
We have every principal from every school. so.
More merrier. Okay, come on up, ladies.
So he says taking the picture. He's going to put it in the plate. So we got to get Doug up here to play Jim with these chairs, and we realize that's a good idea. We need to make a folk podium. All right.
Oh, looks like it's Julie's looking at you.
Here it goes again.
We do that often, so we got to cover it.
Camera shot.
Okay, here we go. Ready, in 1, 2, 3. And, okay, just do it one more time, just make sure, please. 1, 2, 3. There. She's on too.
A Rubik's Cube up here.
Thank you very much, and I appreciate this proclamation from the City of Taft. I would like to introduce the other members who are here from Taft City School District. We have Heather Ward, principal of both Jefferson and Taft Primary.
Ladies, just please stand up when your name's mentioned. Thank you.
Nancy Hickernell, assistant superintendent. Lisa Kindred, principal of Parkview and Conley Schools. Brandy Swearingen is the principal of Lincoln. And Stephanie McDaniel is the vice principal of Lincoln. And Mr. Mike McCormick is board member, Taft City School District.
Am I?
So, thank you. We greatly appreciate
Okay, well, we
this.
hope that this makes, some of the public aware of what's going on, and be careful around the schools. I noticed
Yes.
we've done some new striping around the schools, and so we're trying to do our part here too at the city, so.
Okay, we appreciate it very much.
All right, thank you, Julie. You don't all have to suffer through the rest of this meeting, so if you,
Look at, wow.
You can tell your teachers because you wait to be dismissed. That's
this
good.
isn't study hall, so. Wow, cleared them out.
Typical teachers. Always wait.
You don't have to say it twice.
To our regular audience.
Well,
We're just trying to be polite and respectful.
Yeah, there's some absolutely terrific people there, and they're running our schools down here, and they're doing a great job, and Julie is now the permanent superintendent and has come up through the ranks there, and we couldn't be any more proud of all of them. So we appreciate it, and in a small way, we want to thank Councilman Hill for bringing this forward to us, and it's a good thing. So, right now, we're going to go off agenda because we have two other agency and authorities that we have to go to. So we're going to now recess this regular session of the Taft City Council to proceed with two other items, and then come back into session for the Taft joint regular meeting. The first one we're going to address is the Taft Public Improvement Corporation Annual Meeting Agenda dated August 18th, 2015. Madam Clerk, will you take roll call, please?
Yes. Director Bryant.
Here.
Director Hill.
Here.
Director Cryer.
Here.
Director Miller.
Here.
And Director Knorr.
Here.
Item one is an approval of minutes of the August 19th, 2014 annual meeting. I think Ms. Hill and Mr. Bryant will have to abstain from that because they weren't present.
May I, Mr. Ray?
Yes?
Thank you. We wouldn't actually take a vote on item number one, and unless there's an objection from the board, the reason for that is that there are an insufficient number of members present who were present at that meeting at the time. Two of them, in fact, are even no longer board members at all, and we have two new ones. So we would just simply accept the minutes unless there's an objection. We'll accept them as they're presented.
No objections.
Okay, well, then we move on to item number 2, seating of new directors. Josh Bryant and Renee Hill were elected, and myself was re-elected to the City of Taft Council, and were duly seated as members of the City Council December 2014. Section 2.2 of the corporate bylaws provide, among other things, that A, directors shall be the members of the City Council of the City of Taft. B, directors shall hold office for a term that is coexistent with their respective terms as members of the City Council. And D, each appointed director shall hold office until the expiration of the term for which appointed or a successor has been appointed by the city. Mr. Bryant, Ms. Hill, and Mr. Miller have executed the oath of office as members of the City Council and are hereby declared seated as directors of the Taft Public Improvement Corporation. So what we're doing, I'm moving on to is item number 3, election of officers. I will now accept nominations for from the board for election as president, secretary, and treasurer. So does anybody want to make a nomination or jump out there? Or?
If I may, Mr. Mayor, there are no pay scales included in the staff report. I'm somewhat curious as to what type of compensation we're bidding up here on.
Well, you're a public servant, so that means...
Well, thank you very much for straightening
Personal
me out on that.
gratitude and nothing more.
I'll pat you on the back after the meeting.
In that case, I would like to nominate the mayor as the president.
I'll second the nomination.
Thank you. Is there a nomination for secretary?
To nominate Mr. Cryer.
I'd second that nomination.
Is there a nomination for councilman to serve as treasurer?
I would nominate successful businesswoman, Councilwoman Hill for treasurer.
Up to second.
I will second that.
Okay, so we have motions and seconds for myself as president, Mr. Cryer as secretary, and treasurer, Ms. Hill. Madam Clerk, do we do a roll call? Okay, Madam Clerk, will you take roll call?
Yes. Director Noor,
Yes.
Director Cryer,
Yes.
Director Bryant,
Yes.
Director Hill,
Yes.
and Director Miller.
Yes. We have an item of citizen request for public comments. Do we have anybody wishing to speak? Okay. We have a consent calendar, items 5 through 7. All items listed on the consent calendar shall be considered routine and will be enacted by one roll call vote. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a board member of the corporation requests specific items to be removed from the consent calendar for separate action. Excuse me. Any item removed from the consent calendar will be considered after the regular business items. Item number 5, ratification of action taken by the officers of the Taft Public Improvement Corporation during fiscal year 2014-2015. The recommendation is a motion to ratify all actions taken on behalf of the corporation, directors of the Taft Public Improvement Corporation during the fiscal year 2014-15. Item 6, authorization of certain actions by officers of Taft Public Improvement Corporation on behalf of the corporation. Motion to authorize the directors on that officer act on behalf of the corporation during 2015-2016. And item number 7 is a comparative analysis of changes in fund balances. And the motion would be to receive and file the Taft Public Improvement Corporation comparative analysis of changes in the fund balances. Entertain a motion to accept items 5, 6, and 7.
Motion.
Motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, will you take roll call, please?
Yes. Director Noor,
Yes.
Director Cryer,
Yes.
Director Bryant,
Yes.
Director Hill,
Yes.
and Director Miller.
Yes, and that is all that's on that agenda, so I will entertain a motion for adjournment.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, I pass on a 5-0 vote. So the next item that we will move on to is I'm going to hand the gavel over to Councilman Cryer as chairman of the Taft Public Financing Authority.
I now open the Taft Public Finance Authority Annual Meeting of August 18th, 2015. Clerk, will you take the roll call?
Yes. Director Cryer
Here.
and Director Bryant,
Here.
Director Hill,
Here.
Director Miller,
Here.
and Director North.
Here.
First order of business would be approval of minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Cryer. Once again, unless there's an objection, the board will simply accept the minutes as presented due to the fact that there are an insufficient number of directors remaining from the August 19th, 2014 meeting to approve the minutes.
And any directors here wish to
No.
go forward? We will have a motion to pass the minutes?
Motion.
Or no?
In this instance, we don't need a motion.
Okay.
Director Cryer, thank you.
Number two, a citizen's request for public comments. This is the time and place for the general public to address the authority on matters within their control. State law prohibits the authority from addressing any issue not previously included on the agenda. Authority may receive comment and set the matter for later meeting. Please limit comments to 5 minutes and hearing none, close public comments. Next order of business is seeing of new directors. Josh Bryant and Renee Hill were elected, and Randy Miller was re-elected to the City Council and were duly seated as member of the City Council on December 2014. Article 2, Section 2 of the Authority bylaws provided, among other things, that directors shall be members of the City Council of the City of Taft. B, directors shall hold office for a term that is co-extensive with the respective terms as members of the City Council. D, each appointed director shall hold office until expiration of the term for which appointed, until a successor has been appointed by the city. Mr. Bryant, Mrs. Hill, and Mr. Miller have executed the oath of office as member of the City Council and are hereby declared seated as director of the Taft Public Finance Authority. Next, we'll have election of officers. Board member is elect chairman and vice chairman of the Public Finance Authority.
I nominate Archer Cryer as chairman.
Second.
And I'll nominate the mayor as vice chairman.
Second.
Next appointment is for secretary.
I nominate Mr. Bryant.
Second.
An appointment of a treasurer.
I would nominate Councilwoman Hill for that post.
Second. Mr. Norris located right
I
out.
don't know, it's that. So, the city clerk would like to take roll call?
Yes. Director North,
Absolutely.
Director Miller,
Yes.
Director Bryant,
Yes.
Director Hill,
Yes.
and Director Cryer.
Yes.
Congratulations to all the board members.
There's no position for the person who's not nominated. Maintenance, we need a maintenance, director of maintenance. Okay. We have a consent calendar for items 5 through 7. All items listed on the consent calendar shall be considered routine and will be enacted by one roll call vote. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a board member of the authority requests a specific item to be removed from the consent calendar for a separate action. Any item removed from the consent calendar shall be considered after regular business items. Number 5, ratification of actions taken by the officers of the Taft Public Finance Authority during the fiscal year 2014-2015. Recommendation is motion to ratify any and all actions taken on behalf of the authority by directors and officers of the Taft Public Finance Authority during the fiscal year 2014-2015. Number 6, authorization of certain actions by officers of the Taft Public Finance Authority on behalf of the authority. Recommendation, motion to authorize directors and officers to act on behalf of the authority during the fiscal year 2015-2016. Number 7, comparative analysis of changes in fund balances, revenue bonds of 1998, police station and redevelopment projects, lease revenue bonds of 1997, CCF acquisition projects. Recommendation, motion to receive and file the Public Finance Authority comparative analysis of changes in funds balances, revenue bonds of 1998, police station redevelopment projects, lease bonds of 97, CCF acquisition project.
I move we accept the items 5 through 7.
Okay. A motion and a second. Read the roll call.
Yes, Director Noor,
Yes.
Director Miller,
Yes.
Director Bryant,
Yes.
Director Hill,
Yes.
and Director Cryer.
Yes. I will now adjourn the meeting.
Have a motion.
We have a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
A motion, second. Everybody, big roll call.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries.
Nobody opposed?
No opposed.
Okay.
So we adjourn.
We're adjourned.
Well, let me put it here.
We are adjourned.
We all adjourned.
Clean. There you go. Thank you.
I was enjoying a few brief moments there, you know.
Okay, I'm reopening the regular meeting of the Taft City Council, and we're back in session. Anybody speaking tonight? There we go. Jose Rodriguez with NASA JPL. Yes, sir. All right, come on up. You state your name and your address, please?
Yes, sir. Jose Rodriguez, 420 Finley Drive, and that's just right down here in Taft, California.
All right.
So some of you know me, but first of all, good evening, Mayor Mailer and council members. Thank you for the opportunity to talk here today. Some of you know me as the operations manager for Synagro Technologies out there on the other side of the road. But something that I do on my side as a hobby is I volunteer for the California Institute of Technology, NASA, and JPL. I go out throughout the school districts. I teach kids about astronomy. I teach them about the new missions that are out there in space, the old stuff, the new stuff. And what I wanted to do is just let people know that since I'm in Taft now, I will be doing that. I will be going, making the contacts with the schools. I already made a contact with the library. I already have an activity scheduled for September 22nd. We're going to be doing some viewing of the sun and stuff like that. And I'm here to just help get the community and the education rolling in the right direction. I'm really involved with STEM, which is science, technology, engineering, and math. So the telescope that I have here is just part of the things that I used to teach. This is my smallest one.
Oh, really?
So I have some rather large ones, and like I say, I could use them for different types of viewing, the sun, galaxies, nebula, you name it. So since my target audience left, I'll just make it short and sweet. And that's all I wanted to say.
Well, I was stayed up the other night for the big meteor shower.
Okay.
But it wasn't much. When you think of a shower, you think, they're...
And it was rather, I was up in Fraser Park.
Oh, were you?
At the ranger station, and we measured about 20 an hour.
Oh, okay.
So with the light contamination in this area and everything, it's hard to see them, but if you get out there to Fraser Park...
I was expecting some real fireballs, but we didn't...
There were some good ones.
Well, were there?
As a matter of fact, we got to see some space debris come through as well.
Oh, wow.
So that was pretty neat. You can see it breaking up as it's coming through the atmosphere and everything. So this is, outside of my job, this is my hobby, and it's pretty much what gets me to wake up every day and look at the stars. And So,
We're glad you're here, and glad you're involved, and glad you want to participate and contribute to the community, so thank you so much.
absolutely.
All right,
Thank
thank
you.
you. Thank you, Jose. Seeing that we have no other people wishing to speak, we'll move on to item 3, council statements. Let's start out with Mr. Knorr.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Had a really enjoyable evening just the other night when we had the public meeting concerning the county EIR, and I received notification from several of the business partners that I have. I work for all the big oil companies out there, and they were obviously concerned that there was a good showing since there were in the previous 2, and they were hoping for, I will tell you officially, to have 50 or more people there. Well, I can tell you there were a great many more than 50 people there, concerned citizens and a real cross-section of not only the industry but the community. Very informative. The mayor did a great job of opening things up and introducing everybody, and I believe that they understand just exactly how important this EIR is, and the fact that not just any one industry benefits from the EIR, that they are being very proactive in taking care of issues that perhaps fence riders in that regard would be concerned with. I mean, the oil companies are going to end up with more regulations and more hoops to jump through, but they're going to be consistent, and the process will be in place, and it'll be very beneficial to industry. It's interesting, I find that the big industries in the San Joaquin Valley, which is the petroleum, the energy industry, and ag, people want them to lock horns. It's like it's going to be a problem. They can't get together. And when you think about it, the fact of the matter is that oil and gas industry, they're into mineral extraction. That's what they do. They pull minerals out of the ground, all right? Well, that's what a farmer does. Farmer does it in the first 2 feet of topsoil, but in order to grow nuts and grow fruits and grow vegetables, you got to pull minerals out of the ground. Well, the oil and gas industry just pulls them out a little bit deeper. In the end, however, they both need to be good stewards of the land, because at the end of a long, hot day, whether you're toiling on a tractor or in the oil field, everybody reaches for a nice, clean glass of cool water. But the bottom line is, industry, in and of itself, needs to join together. They need to put their differences aside, concentrate on the things that they have in common, and come to some common ground, and then approach government. Because we all know government is woefully inefficient at bringing them together. They should do that of their own accord. The EIR is going to do a great deal to help that and make things consistent. I can tell you that I have voiced frustration many times about when you wake up in the morning, you don't know what's coming out of Sacramento next. Truly, you don't. And I sent a letter not too long ago to Shannon Grove. The mayor responded to a letter from a group that wanted to oppose fracking, as did Councilman Bryant, I know, as did I. And one of the things that I mentioned was the fact that if today, the way things are in Sacramento, if the legislature were to pass a bill and then the governor were to sign it, that people would expect that within a decade, all the vehicles traveling up and down the highways in the state of California could do so by sucking in polluted air and emitting nothing more than poetry and petunias. And they would expect that that would happen. That's the level of ridiculousness that seems to permeate the halls up there. But we're trying to work around those things. So for all the people that were there, some were there to get educated on the EIR, which that's the first step. I mean, we want you to be an informed voter and want the support. So everybody was there. Thanks for showing up, being a part of it. That's the way government works. You got to get involved if you want to make a difference. So I just wanted to bring that up. It was a very good meeting. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for opening things up and getting everybody headed in the right direction. And we look forward to that coming before the Planning Commission as well as the county supervisor. So if you missed it on this go-around, you might have an opportunity to support it there, because it will have a big impact on the viability of this community and this entire valley. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. North. Mr. Cryer?
Well said, Councilman. Thank you. Well said. I'd like to give our thoughts and prayers to Ron Oren. He's been in a hospital for surgery and stuff, and has been a big asset to our community and does a lot, and hope he has a swift healing and get home soon. Too bad they don't have regulations like they do the oil industry for the Sierra Club, and all environmentalists have the same rules and regulation reverse it back to them, because some of the things that they try to do is detrimental to the environment. For instance, the forest and stuff, all the beetles and stuff, killing all the trees and stuff because you can't use insecticides on them to kill the beetles. So a lot of trees are dying. A lot of animals they're trying to protect out there in the wilderness out here, even on the west side here. They used to have ponds and stuff for water and stuff to feed the horny toads and the lizards and all the other animals. Now they can't have water out there because you can't have ponds, so they're all died off and getting eaten up alive through no protection. So there's a lot of things going on that if what they pass too, they need to do an ER on them to make sure what they push that it don't affect the environment. And there's a two-way sword there. But there's a lot going on. School's open. Watch out for the kids. And I know we had a few months. Not we're out watching the crosswalks as much and stuff. But in the mornings at 7, watch real closely. In the afternoons, watch real closely. All those people got cell phones again. There are a lot of new ones out there with cell phones. Without looking around, they'll cross the sidewalks, and hopefully no one will get hurt this year. But just take caution, the school children. And summer's getting close to being over with, so got oil dweller coming up around the corner, and we'll all be prepared. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Bryant.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. One quick shout out. I wanted to make sure to get just kudos to Michaela Wells. I'm sure you guys know Dave and Kim. I know them quite well. Michaela represented Taft and herself very well at the USA Track and Field Junior Olympics in Jacksonville in late July. Finished, I believe, 7th overall, earning All-American honors in the high jump for 12-year-olds. And she also finished in the top 15. I don't know the final standing. I know she was knocked out ultimately in the semifinal of the 12-year-old 80-meter hurdles. And so, of all the kids in the country who run rec track and field, she was able to finish in the top 15. And I think that's a testament to her work ethic. If any of you guys have seen Michaela, she's a machine. I wish I had the kind of drive that she had, and I would guarantee that 99.9% of the people in this room or even in this city don't have the mental attitude that she brought to the table when it came to training for this. And I want to congratulate her for that, and hope that she keep putting her mind to things like that as she gets older, because there's no limits on where she'll go. So congratulations, Michaela, and Dave and Kim, you guys are doing a great job. Again, I want to piggyback on everybody's talking about the schools. I didn't realize we were going to have the audience here earlier, and they're not here now to hear it, but maybe they'll watch the videos. I want to say thank you to the teachers who are out there. I know that they do a lot of them do a lot of great work on their own time, on their own dime, to make sure our kids, even in the not the best school systems at times, our kids get the best education they can get, and it's because those teachers put their heart and soul into that. So I want to say thank you to those that take that extra time and effort, and I wish everybody the best of luck with this next school year. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman Hill.
Thank you. I just want to regress a little bit back to the proclamation. Although I'm very pleased we did that, and I know it's something for us to start talking about. It's a very small drop in a very large bucket when it comes to protecting our children. I know how it is. It hasn't been that long since I had kids in school. When you're in a hurry and you're trying to get to work and you're trying to get kids who do not want to get off the dime and get them to school on time, you are in a hurry, you drive in a hurry, but the parents have got to set the example of watching what's going on. I have had several conversations with several teachers who tell me that, oh yeah, as long as the teachers are out there, the parents are almost doing what they're supposed to. But the minute the teachers or the police officers go away, you got parents making U-turns in the middle of the thing, in the middle of the street. You've got kids being dropped off. No one's paying attention. You've got to set the example. You've heard the expression that little pitchers have big ears. Well, they also have big eyes. And if you as a parent are not setting that example, and it's hard some days. There are days when kids will really test your patience. But if you do not set that example, I cannot tell you how many times I have watched parents and children crossing the street to go to the Fox Theater, and the parents are not looking either direction to see what's happening, and they dart out in the middle of the street. You don't think your kids are watching? They're watching. They're watching what you do and the example you set. Take a big swallow. Watch what you're doing. Somebody is going to get hurt, and it could be you. So I just want to, keep driving that home to pay attention. Don't hope that the person who's driving by is watching you. They might not see you. Make sure you make eye contact. Make sure that that child is paying attention. And if they're not, you better pay attention, because kids are kids. You can't expect a kid to do what a parent should be teaching, and you can't expect a kid to follow all the rules. That's why they're kids. We have to be the bigger example. So I'm going to keep driving that one home and hoping that maybe one kid gets, scared enough to not get hit. Thank you, Mayor.
Curtis Street is especially bad on those kids darting out because they think that crosswalks is a steel box of some sort. And I've come up to the intersection there, and they don't even look. They just walk off that sidewalk right out into the crosswalks. Even that, cars are getting ready to go, and they don't see this kid. They think they have some sort of right. No, I hope you do keep this up, because we don't want another tragedy like we had down here on 3rd and Kern. So thank you for your efforts, Councilman Hill. I want to say the thing we had at the EIR, which is the Environmental Impact Report workshop that was held down at the Vets Hall, was, like I said, was well intended. I believe there's well over 100 people there. Some very positive comments, and Mr. Knorr made some very positive comments himself. The EIR proposes to cover up to, in the valley floor, up to 3,600 wells. And so, like Mr. Knorr indicated, that's 100 wells a day that the county would have to be dealing with, or the state would be dealing with, punching one hole. 100 hole, it would make the process of trying to drill wells in the county back up for months and maybe even a year or so. So this is really a good project. One of the things that's it's come around that it's just an astonishing document that is being looked at by other states and other counties too, because of all the hard work that has been put into it. For Kern County alone, this EIR is affecting about 50,000 oil-related jobs in Kern County. About $4.1 billion in family income that comes out of the oil industry for all the employees that work there, and $1.2 billion in taxes, mainly property taxes that the oil companies pay. So it's a huge industry in our county. It's a huge industry for all of California, because we're providing the energy. We're also providing the independence from oil, from foreign purchases. We have our own oil here. It's homegrown. It provides jobs, income, and taxes. Why wouldn't we want to support that? Most of the employees that work for oil industry live in Kern County. They want safe water. They want safe air. They want safe processes to extract oil. So hopefully this will get done, and it will save jobs. Might have noticed out today, it was a little icky looking, sticky, smoggy. I'm just hoping that we have an inversion layer sitting over top of us. Of course, when it heats up, that's not just pollution from oil companies and cars. That's a lot of smoke that's coming down from the valley from all the fires that are going off. So, but all it takes is one day that we exceed the air pollution limits. The EPA can come in and fine the district, and they have done it in the past, $29 million for exceeding the air pollution standards. So hopefully this day won't trigger that from the EPA. Finally, I want to give a shout out to a friend of mine that had recently passed away. Many of you folks knew Steve Burnham. He was our local postman that worked for the post office probably, I think somewhere around 27 years. He was my postman. He was my friend. He was my era. He was an Air Force veteran, and he was just an all-around great guy. Lived in Taft all his life, and he was a vice commander up at the Legion Post here, American Legion Post. So just want to give a shout out to his friends and family and say, hey, Steve, we miss you. That's all I have. Item 4, is department reports. Okay. Mr. Staples from our planning department.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Miller. Mark Staples, Planning Director for the City of Taft. First, I wasn't planning to make a comment on it, but regarding last night's meeting on the county's EIR for the oil and gas activities, and having attended the Bakersfield meeting back in July, I want to commend the turnout that came out for last night's meeting. It rivaled the amount of people that showed up at the Bakersfield meeting. Just a matter of the schedule with that. They're headed towards a planning commission date of October 5th, if anyone's interested in attending. It's a special meeting. It's the only thing they'll be discussing at that meeting. It's not mixed in with regular business that their planning commission reviews. So that EIR still has a comment period till, I believe, mid to late September. I'm doing what I can to sift through the 1,800 pages to see what comments we could possibly have. I'm mostly focusing on what the process changes are, the applications, the fees they're charging, things like that. And I'll probably at least come with some sort of report to you for review, probably in the second meeting in September, which will be right before that. I think it's September 21st date for the comments. So look forward to that. The other thing I wanted to bring up is for the city, we're working on our housing element update. And we have 3 community outreach meetings in the next 2 weeks. Starting with Tuesday, August 25th at Taft Union High School. We'll be utilizing their boardroom. On Monday, August 31st, we'll be at the Pizza Factory in their little meeting room in the back. And then on Thursday, September 3rd, we'll be at the Westside Rec building, the new building in the back where they typically hold their board meetings. All 3 meetings will have the same content. We're providing multiple meeting venues to hopefully accommodate for everybody's schedule. A Monday, a Tuesday, and a Thursday hopefully will fit in the event calendar. I think everything's clear that day. I checked the chamber's calendar on that. There aren't other social club meeting events, I think, on those nights. So we welcome everybody to come out.
You'll send us an email?
Yes, it's going to be publicly noticed in the Driller this weekend, and we'll do what we can to repeat the notices out there through the chamber and other avenues. And we welcome anybody to come out, resident or not, even if you're in the county area, just the overall needs for the city of Taft, because even the county areas are in our sphere, and we do have to somewhat address them in our housing element document. So we welcome everybody to come out. And if anybody has any questions, please direct them to me.
Thank you. Is there any other department reports? All right, city manager, item number 5, city manager statements.
Thank you, Mayor. Just wanted to thank Kern County Raceway Park for sponsoring City of Taft Night, Saturday night at the races. It was a nice evening, and it was our very first 911 series win for Taft Police Department. Officer Steve Schmidt won first place, so it was a great night to top off the City of Taft night for a win for Taft PD. It was a little hot, but I think everyone enjoyed themselves. That's all I have. Thank you.
This wasn't NASCAR. They're modified midget racing cars, so it was a nice win against the other, basically county departments, so
yeah,
it was great. Item number 6, city attorney statements.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. No statement.
Thank you. Item number 7, future agenda requests. Does any of the council have a future agenda request?
None this evening.
None this evening.
Okay, nor do I. Okay, moving on. Consent calendar items 8 through 15. All items listed on the consent calendar shall be considered routine and will be enacted by one roll call vote. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a member of the city council requests specific items to be removed from the consent calendar for separate action. Any item removed from the consent calendar will be considered after the regular business items. Are there any items on the consent calendar that any member of the public would like to comment on? Seeing none, we'll move on. Item number 8, minutes of the August 4th regular and August 4th special meeting. Item number 9, payment of bills. Item 10, treasurer's report dated August 7th, 2015 for the month of June 2015. Item number 11, authorization to submit a regional surface transportation application to KernCog for the rehabilitation of the 6th Street from Main to Supply Row. Item 12, Kern Economic Development Corporation Annual Membership. That is to appropriate $5,000 from the general fund for the Kern EDC membership. Item 13, authorization to submit a congestion mitigation and air quality application to KernCog for the installation of 12 bus shelters and related site improvements at various locations within the city. Item 14, professional services agreement with Stantec. Motion to approve professional services agreement with Stantec to provide grant research, grant writing services, and appropriate $12,500 from capital reserves for the purpose of funding a needs assessment. Item 15, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Taft urging the state to provide new sustainable funding for state and local transportation infrastructure. Are there any council members wishing to remove a consent calendar item?
Is number 16 part of that?
Seeing none, then I would entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar.
Motion.
Second.
A motion and a second. Madam Clerk, will you take roll call, please?
Yes. Councilmember North,
Yes.
Councilmember Cryer,
Yes.
Councilmember Bryant,
Yes.
Councilmember Hill,
Yes.
and Mayor Miller.
Yes. Next item on the agenda for the council is closed session. And I'll read the following. Oh, 16, I'm sorry. Cruise right by
I did
that.
the same thing.
Item number 16, Taft Economic Opportunities Workshop Summary Report. Mr.
Thank you, Mayor. On July 9th, 2015, the Taft City Council held a joint meeting with the Planning Commission at the Historic Fort for a Taft Economic Opportunities Workshop. The workshop was coordinated by city staff, and attendees included local and regional stakeholders interested in Taft's and the West Side's economic state. There were 9 focus topics of discussion that were moderated by Dr. Kathy Orrin of the Taft Chamber of Commerce, Mike Dozier, and Ishmael Herrera of Fresno State Office of Economic Development, Barry Foster of HDL Companies, Teresa Hitchcock of Kern County Board of Trade, Richard Chapman of Kern Economic Development Corporation, Donna Carpenter with Stantec, and Gary Coates of Sunset Rails LLC. There were many comments and ideas provided by the participants of the workshop. However, some of the repeating or highlight ideas involved directional signage to get cars off Highway 119, Highway 33, 119, and 166 signage further out from Taft, promoting the city and that you are riding on Petroleum Highway. Utilize the oil theme throughout the city, providing full health care and medical services. Support and improve the downtown by local campaigns, second floor residential, promote, add yearly events beyond El Dorado, promote recreational options of Skydive Taft, Timblow Range, oil field tours, etc. Business support, training seminars, classes, develop office skills, etc. Staff is presenting the attached summary report for the City Council to review. Staff welcomes the council's feedback and direction into prioritizing future economic development efforts.
Okay, the recommended action is to review and accept the Taft Economic Opportunities Workshop Summary Report. Does the council have any comment on it?
We have to have a motion first? Or domino?
Only when you're ready to accept it, if
good.
you're going to discuss.
We can discuss, accept it. Do you have any comments?
Yeah, that's why I wanted to thank Mark and your staff for putting that together. You guys did a great job. I mean, I was very encouraged by being able to sit there and talk with the folks. I thank the folks who came out. It was very nice to sit there and hear the people who had all these ideas. And it's amazing for all the people that are there to say there's nothing to do, there's no potential here in Taft. I think the proof's in the pudding right in front of us that there's a ton of potential. Now, the economy may not always be the best to take on some of those, and so people have to pick their spots, but I think there's a ton of opportunity here in Taft. I hope we follow through with a lot of these things, and I'll make it a point to push some of these things that'll make the town better, not just for the short term, but for the long term. But I appreciate your efforts, Mark and Craig and your staff, and I look forward to pushing a lot of these things forward. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Any other comments?
None, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Well, Michelle?
Yeah, do we have an idea of when we plan on discussing this again in city council meetings or in planning commission meetings?
A lot of these
In
things
other
are...
words, what do we do now?
Well, that's where I was going to take more direction from the council. If you wanted to have more regular reviews or updates of staff efforts after you've directed us which way to focus, whether it's one of the topics on the staff report or something that's unique inside the report itself on the different items that were discussed. I didn't get, one thing that really rose to the top of the hill of what was a number one priority, if you will. Maybe the healthcare kind of was one that showed up more than once, but I was looking to the council to give us a little more direction, and we'll follow suit on.
Well, we had
the
9
priority.
topics to discuss. It seems that we ought to, take time out of scheduling and figure out we can't discuss more about some of these topics, because nothing's going to happen if we don't start moving forward.
Absolutely.
And I think that is the problem we've had in the past, when we've had some great ideas like these, but there's been no progress, and that's where a lot of citizens are getting discouraged, thinking we're not going to have progress. So I don't know how we take the next step, but if we can find a way to start looking at maybe even one of these, discussion, we had 9 different tables with 9 different discussions, and we can start working on one, figure out if it should go to city council or if it should go to planning commission, or how, we should start reviewing these things.
Well, one thing that we do have is when it comes to, I guess you could say, the first 2 items of signage. Years ago, the city went through the branding process, and we have the logo that's on cards and letterhead and all that. And there was also some exercise in signage and wayfinding and things like that. There could be a resurrection of that. We do still have the contact with the sign company that worked with us on that. And it seems to be the same person is still there from 7 years ago. So that's something that is somewhat still there.
Each and every one of these items that Mr. Jones brought up, it all takes money. So, each item we need to figure out what the council's willing to, put forward, and then, cherry pick a couple of these items out of here. Signage, okay, we all know we need signage. Well, how much are they gonna cost?
Right.
That's what we're gonna need to
But we
do.
still need to figure out ways to get that, what we want. We may not have the funds at this time to get what we want, but we need to have an idea of, what do we want, where we want to put these signs, what will benefit the most for the town, and then we figure out how much it's going to cost, and then figure out, do we have grants, do we have fundraising, what can we do to get these things happening? We know we don't have the funds to do a lot of these things, but we have a lot of people that are willing to help, and that's maybe what we need, but no one's going to help us, or we're not going to be able to get a grant if we have no clue as to what we want.
Right, and one thing we could do is some exercise where we take this 18-page list down to 2, narrowing it down to what those things are that we can discuss through and work through and determine what's a priority, what the costs are, what the benefits are, and go from there. That's one thing we could do.
Okay, Mr. Jones?
As a suggestion, maybe a future agenda item, forming a ad hoc committee.
Just gonna suggest that.
Comprised of 2 council members and maybe 2 planning commissioners and whoever else planning department feels, to go through this stuff and prioritize and kind of put numbers to it and see.
Well, since that is not something that we can do tonight, but that was what I was gonna suggest, that we get an ad hoc committee. That way we can get some public members, planning commissioners, a couple of council persons on there, we'll have staff, then that will be your forum, and then we can go from there. So my recommendation would be to, as a future agenda request, going back, would be to have staff put on the agenda creation of an ad hoc committee from the council, and set that up, and then we'll figure out who wants to be on that committee. But at least, I would think 2, like I said, 2 council, 2 planning commissioners, a couple of staff members, and then 3, 4, whatever, public members.
Some of these things already fall under committees that are established as well, so it may not have to be too much work for the ad hoc committee.
What's that?
So some of these things already fall under existing committees, standing committees, so
Yeah.
it shouldn't be too much work for the ad hoc committee
Yeah.
once you separate that stuff out.
Okay, do I get a second on that, or a
I'd second it.
concurrence?
Yes.
Okay. All right, sounds good.
All right.
Well, thank you, yeah, from all of us. Mr. Bryant said it very nicely. Thank you, Mark.
I appreciate
For putting that
everybody's attendance and input. Thank you.
It was well attended, too. That's, it was nice. So there's a lot of people that cared. There's a lot of people that came over from Bakersfield that cared enough to come over and participate and want to see us be successful, so
It was great.
thanking them, too. All right, thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Any other comments?
Anybody looking to start a business here in town, look at the tourism section. And if you've got the money to invest, it's worth a shot. You can make some money around here.
The question is, how are we going to brand ourselves as a town? We got to brand ourselves first. Then it talks to make a destination city. What's going to bring people to come to Taft? Not because of a motel or the monument, museum. You have things going on. And that's where the Chamber of Commerce comes in to bring new money into town, not circulating the old money. You know, they bring a reason for people to come to Taft.
Well, certainly this ad hoc committee would be, you know, the first part of that, and bring all those kinds of ideas together, so, yeah. You know, we've got energized for the future, you know, is that good enough, or maybe we should be looking at something else, so something else that committee could come up to, you know, making sure that we have the right brand that's really gonna grab, you know, people and make them look this way. Okay. Now, can I read my closed session items? All right, thank you. Closed session items. A, conference with labor negotiator, Craig Jones, City Manager, Government Code 54957.6, all units. Item B, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, Government Code, Section 54956.9A, City of Taft versus CDCR. Item C, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, Government Code Section 54956.9A, Sierra Club versus City of Taft and the Taft City Council. Item D, conference with real property negotiator Craig Jones, City Manager, Government Code Section 54956.8, 400 Hilliard Street and 410 Supply Row. Item E, performance evaluation, Government Code Section 54957, City Manager. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us tonight.